Welcome to a brand new episode of Johnson's Court. Today, I'm super excited to be with you guys. It is football Saturday, college football. Second week of college football is here. Ball State is playing Georgia. So my school is playing the defending national champions, and we will see how that go. Right now at halftime, we are down 30 something to 0. I kind of stopped looking because, it started to get embarrassing. Played very good first half, or first quarter, I should say, and this second quarter just kind of went downhill. But also wearing a Notre Dame shirt, they're playing today, and they're playing NC State. So I haven't checked on that game, but hopefully they're doing well and playing good on this fine Saturday. But tomorrow is what we are really here to talk about. Here to talk about the first week of the NFL. It's back. It's alive. We actually had our Thursday night game kick off between the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this video should have came out Wednesday night, Thursday morning, but unfortunately, I forgot. Just wasn't thinking of it. It's been a busy week, been a busy fall. So a little bit behind there, but we'll get into it. I'll talk about my predictions this episode. Opening season week 1 episode is going to be pretty short, but then next week, I'm going to have special guests on the show, so please look forward to that. I think people who watch this channel, you'll know who you are, who are coming on. So just super excited to get more guests. It'll kind of be more of a warehouse episode. If I can drop one hint, there it is for all of you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this episode, and I'm going to get straight to it. Now, yes, the Lions and Chiefs played. I had the Chiefs winning. That was my original prediction, and even though the Lions upset then 21-20, I'm not going to change it. Hey, I lost that game. I originally was going to pick the Chiefs, and I'm not going to change it now just because now I know who won that game. So not going to happen like that. But on Sunday, our first 1 o'clock game is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns. Mr. Joe Burrow is now the highest paid player in the NFL. I'd have to look at his contract details. I don't know. If you know them, please comment them below. But they're playing Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'll say this before I get into all the games, and all the games are kind of going to be like this. You don't know what's going to happen week 1. You have no idea. Preseason happened. You can't really start guessing what's going to happen until midway during the season. When teams, have those first 3-4 games, behind them, and they're able to, kind of get in the rhythm, get into their groove. Me personally, I'm going to pick the Bengals for this one because I'm a Bengals fan, and I think the Bengals can go far this year. With my next pick, the next game at 1 o'clock is the Houston Texans versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Houston Texans, they went out first pick of the draft, went and got CJ. No, they weren't first pick. They were right before the Colts, actually, or 2 picks before the Colts. They got CJ Stroud. So good for them. That's who I wanted the Colts to get. But we've got Anthony Richardson, so I think he can still play pretty well. And we'll see what the Colts are made of this season when we get to them. But it's the Texans versus the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson's coming back from an ACL injury. He negotiated, got a deal. He's ready to play. I think the Ravens can do a lot of damage this year. I think he wins comeback player of the year. So I'm going the Baltimore Ravens. Then for the third game, you've got the Buccaneers versus the Vikings. Now, the Buccaneers no longer have Tom Brady. They have Baker Mayfield as their quarterback. The Vikings lost Dalvin Cook. They now have, I don't know who the running back is now, but they still got Kirk Cousins. You like that. I had to sneak one of those in there for you guys. But I think this would be a good matchup, but I ultimately do think Kirk Cousins. It's not a primetime game. I don't know how the Buccaneers are going to play, what's going to happen there, but it is in Minnesota, and I'm going to go with the Vikings here. Then our next 1 o'clock game, we have a lot of 1 o'clock games. You've got the Carolina Panthers, who took Bryce Young with the first overall number 1 pick of this year's draft. And they're playing the Atlanta Falcons, who they took Robertson with their pick in the first draft. They're, a huge running back, was a great pick, is projected to be the best running back for this draft class. He could win Rookie of the Year. Ball State is down 31-0. That is the score. But with that being said, this matchup's in the air. The Panthers surprised me a lot last year, won more games than what I thought they were going to, especially after training away Christian McCaffrey and Sam Darnold. I think they can pick up where they left off, and I think the Panthers are going to take down the Falcons. What do you guys think? Comment below what you guys think. Next, we've got the Arizona Cardinals playing the Washington Commanders. Cardinals are kind of a dumpster fire team this year. Not really expecting them to win more than 4 games, really. The Washington Commanders, I'm not sure who's at quarterback there. Like I said, there's a lot of changes, things that happen. So not until after week 1 will we really be able to get into, hey, who's on this team? They're on this team now, things like that. And then midseason trades happen. So then you got to keep track of that as well. But I'm going Commanders here. I still think that they will get this dub. Like I said, I don't really see too much of the Cardinals and what's going to happen, especially because Kyle Murray is not going to be playing for the first 3 weeks, I believe. Then you move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. Super excited for this matchup, as last year we could have potentially made the playoffs as a wild card if we would have beat Jacksonville, but that did not happen. I just don't know where this Colts organization is going. I feel like maybe I have a little bit of an idea now, since we did finally draft a quarterback, since Andrew Luck, instead of just trying to replace him with other quarterbacks around the league that just really haven't worked out for us. So we're a young team. We're excited to see where we are going to go with that. Hopefully Jonathan Taylor stays. Hopefully he plays. We'll see what's going to happen with his whole situation. But Jacksonville Jaguars, they are the favorites to win the AFC South this year. And, Trevor Lawrence played pretty well. Their team is finally coming around where they should be, with Trevor Lawrence having a lot of success at Clemson and now potentially transferring that success into the NFL. So, personally, I want to pick the Colts because it is at home. It's at Lucas Oil Stadium. But I think Jags are going to open up their season opener with a win over the Colts. Then at 1 o'clock, you've got the 49ers versus the Steelers. This is probably the number 1 game from the 1 o'clock games, if I had to look. Yeah, absolutely. 49ers versus Steelers. This is going to be a great defensive battle. We'll see what's going to happen with the Steelers. They're trending in the right direction. The 49ers could have been potentially went to the Super Bowl last year if Brock Purdy didn't get hurt. So, they're competing in that quarterback room with Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold. It's super exciting to see. They've got a high-power offense as well, Christian McCaffrey, everyone else that they have around there. I know Steeler fans out here, you believe in who your team is and what they are, especially when you're Kraft and you are a football fan of the Steelers, who you just believe that they're going to win every game. You believe they're going to go 16-0, but I'm sorry, bud. I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen. And they're going to start out this season 0-1 because I'm picking the 49ers. Then you go to, we have one more 1 o'clock game. Like I said, we've got a lot on Sunday. You've got the Tennessee Titans going and playing the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints having a quarterback in Derek Carr. We'll see what they're able to kind of do if Michael Thomas, when he's going to come back. That's a huge wide receiver for them. I know the Saints are kind of favored to win just because they have the most experienced quarterback in that division. But Tennessee Titans, coming from the AFC South, Derrick Henry coming back. They just went out and got DeAndre Hopkins. If everything plays out well and they play their cards right, they could be in a wild card spot in the AFC. So for this one, I'm sticking with the AFC South here. I'm going the Tennessee Titans. Then we start at 4:25. Our first game at 4:25 are the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos. Is it let's ride this year? Is it a different mentality going into the season with Sean Payton now being your new head coach? Or is it Jimmy G, who got traded from the 49ers and going to the Raiders? Does that look different? Can him and Devontae Adams play pretty well? I don't know how this game is going to go. I think it's going to be a plus or a -3 win for whatever team. But I'm going Broncos. Let's ride country. Russell Wilson, let's turn around. Let's start the season off on an upbeat tempo. Let's take charge if we're going to be out in Denver, and if they potentially want to bring the Super Bowl back since Peyton Manning was there. So Broncos over the Raiders. Then you go, and this is probably the best 425 game. You've got the Eagles versus the Patriots. The reason I'm going to say it's the best game out of the 425 games is because the Eagles are the defending NFL. No, they lost. They lost, actually. I thought they won. They should have won. That was my mindset going into it when they were playing the Chiefs. But actually, they could have won that game. Jalen Hurts had one of the best Super Bowl performances out there. So the Eagles have only gotten better. You can kind of call them the Georgia Bulldogs of the NFL because they have a lot of players from Georgia who's playing Ball State today, which is kind of funny. But, you can't count out the Patriots because Mac Jones is, really starting to come around. He showed what, he's capable of last year. Can't count out Bill Belichick. He's a great defensive-minded coach. Eagles are a great defensive team. It's just going to come down to who can play a little bit better of an offensive game. And I think the Eagles are going to fly high and soar over the Patriots. But nevertheless, it's going to be the game of the 425 games this week. Then you've got the LA Rams coming in and playing the Seahawks. Never is it a good idea to go and play the Seahawks at home. You better be fully healthy and ready to go and have all your P's and Q's in line. I will say the Rams, they're not starting Cooper Kupp this week. He's doubtful from an injury. I'm not too sure. I know I have him on one of my fantasy teams, so he's not playing this week, which is huge. But, that's why we have other teams and players, stepping up in his place. Matthew Stafford's coming back from an injury. We'll see how they do. They still got Aaron Donald on defense. They got a pretty good defense. The Seahawks, re-signing, Geno Smith, a pretty good deal. Since it's in Seattle, I'm going to go Seattle, but I think this game will be pretty close. They're starting off playing in the same division already, so a divisional matchup already, which is crazy. I think week one, figured they all played different division opponents, but hey, we're starting off hot. You better be ready coming out of the gates, and so I'm going the Seattle Seahawks. Let's see what Geno Smith can do after getting paid, because obviously he didn't run him back, and he's ready to go. 425, 2 more games to go, ladies and gentlemen. You've got the Miami Dolphins coming in and playing the Los Angeles Chargers. I almost said Las Vegas. This is going to be a good game. I really want to see what Tua can really do. He, got injured quite a bit last season, so let's kind of see where his mindset is, where his field mobility, just kind of playing is. The Chargers are definitely a team to make the playoffs this year, whether it's winning their division or making a wild card spot. I definitely see them playing pretty well. Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. They've got a really good defense as well. I just think that if the Chargers can stay healthy, then they can go, pretty far this year. But this is going to be a great matchup. Miami's coming in. I'm just not sure about Tua, so I'm going to go with the Chargers. And then our last 425 game is between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. I know a lot of people who are Green Bay fans. I know a lot of people who are Bears fans. Shout out to my little brother Mason. He's a Packers fan. Loved him when Aaron Rodgers was there. And, now he's pretty excited to see what Jordan Love can do. I think a lot of people are excited to see what he can do just because he's new. He's now finally, really getting the start. The Packers have really finally closed that chapter on Aaron Rodgers, and they're moving forward. That's everything that you always want to do moving forward in an organization when you have a QB who's been there for so long and was so good and brought you a Super Bowl. You want to be able to close the chapter, move on with just everybody so that you can now focus your team and your mindset to another Super Bowl with this new quarterback. With the Bears being said, Beagle, Laba, just everybody that I know who is a Bears fan, I'm sorry for you because I know that you live in disappointment every single year. You think you can win more games than what you can, and rightfully so. Sometimes there are games where you guys pull out or stay a lot closer than what I personally think. But I think that this division is up for grabs this year. I know the Detroit Lions are the favorite to win that division, but I think this division is wide open for anybody to come in and take it since Aaron Rodgers now has left because he used to own the NFC North. But Justin Fields and what the Bears are going to be able to do this year, it's going to be exciting to watch. So if I had to pick a team to win, I'm going to go the Chicago Bears just because they've got a little bit more experience from last year into this year than over Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. So give me the Bears here. They're going to start off with a win in their own division, which if they want to win that division, you got to get all the division wins you possibly can early and now. Now we move on to our late game on Sunday. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team, Dylan's team, one of my coworkers, I should say, his favorite team, which I'm still trying to figure out that answer. But they're playing the New York Giants. This is going to be a good Sunday night, 8:20 game, kickoff, to start, the first late game of the year. The Dallas Cowboys, on paper, they're always projected to win. So you can give them that. But the Giants, they did really well last year. They, having their first-year head coach, just doing everything that I saw that them do really shocked me. I don't know what they're drinking in the water of New York, but whatever you were drinking last season, keep drinking it this season because you will go far if you do that. You've got Barkley, Daniel Jones played pretty well. Just that whole team in general, they're really starting to click. And so if I had to pick a team to win at 8:20 on a Sunday night, I'm thinking of Carrie Underwood when she's singing, the theme song. I'm going to go with the New York Giants here. Not a pick that I would normally pick, but if it's against the Cowboys, I don't want to see the Cowboys win. Sorry, Dylan. With that being said, on ESPN Plus, on my big flat screen TV that I'm going to be watching, screaming, being up loud because it's the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. That's going to be game of the week right there. And I can say that because the Buffalo Bills have a lot of potential. They are right there to get over the edge to make the Super Bowl. You go up against the Chiefs, you go up against, the Bengals and stuff like that. The AFC is pretty competitive, so there's just a few plays that have to go your way if you want to make the Super Bowl. So the Bills are right there. Then you got the New York Jets, who is a completely different team with Aaron Rodgers, obviously coming over from the Green Bay Packers. Took a lot of Packers players with him. That is his football team. That the Jets are now Aaron Rodgers' football team, and if they want to make the Super Bowl, they've got to make it this year. Yes, I know he signed a 2-year deal, so he might be there next year, but with the way that he talked to Pat McAfee, Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't sure last year if he was going to play this year or not. Really took a long time to think about it, which is totally okay because there comes a point in every man's career when you've been playing that long that, should I keep going? Do I need to spend time with family? Your priorities just start to change when you first enter the league to when you're starting to, that you're going to be leaving the league here very soon. And so he said that, hey, I want traded. I want to stay in the league. I want to go to the Jets. This is where I want to make my new home. I believe they have potential, and I believe that we can make something special happen. So that's where he is. That's where he's at. I'm excited to see what happens. That's why this game is game of the week, and it's probably the hardest one to pick for me just because I love the Bills and everything they do, but how can you hate on Aaron Rodgers? I mean, if you're a Bears fan, of course you hate Aaron Rodgers, but other than that, you love to see him do pretty well. So me personally here, I'm going to go the Bills. I'm not a Bills fan. I'm more of a Colts fan, but if I had to pick another team, it'd be the Bengals. Everyone knows that. But third in line would be the Buffalo Bills, and I just think that, like I said, they're 1-2 plays away from things going their way in order to get to the Super Bowl. And this year might be that year. So I'm going the Buffalo Bills over the Jets. And that rounds out my predictions for Week 1 NFL season. NFL season's back, baby. We're super excited that it's finally here because we've been waiting, a couple months for the NFL season to be back. And now that it's here, week of football for every single Sunday, every Thursday.